Hi, everybody. Bill Noble here from Token Metrics with a new type of video. This is the Bitcoin long-term price prediction, and this is brought to you by tokenmetrics.com and Astrobot Society. The first thing we want to do is seasonals, right? So when we do Bitcoin, we want to look at the entire history to try and get an idea of where Bitcoin is going to go in the next cycle. In other words, in order to figure out the next cycle, we have to look at the past cycles. We're going to use the work of William Gann. Now, William Gann was a technical analyst in the early 20th century. He actually made $50 million trading in the 1929-1932 period. So that would be like 50 billion today. And one of the things Gann liked was the number 45. He was a student of numbers. So we broke Bitcoin down into something that he did, which is 45-month cycles. So we started with when Bitcoin, started trading in 2010. And these blue lines break the history of Bitcoin up into 45-month segments. Now, one thing we noticed is at the end of each of these Gann cycles, okay, so not Bitcoin cycles, the Gann cycles, Bitcoin either tops, like in 2017 here in the middle, just before the end of the Gann cycle, or like in 2021, just after the Gann cycle. Now, your immediate question is, okay, well, when's the next Gann cycle? When's the parabolic? So normally what happens is the top is at the end of the cycle, and the parabolic is like the 12 months before the cycle ends, in the later part of the Gann cycle. So when is it? Well, the next Gann cycle ends in July of 2025. That's over here, okay? Now, the last cycle, right, ended in October of 2021, right? So at the end of the cycle in 2025, preceding that, there should be a 12-month parabolic. Now, that was a lot of information, so let me give you the bottom line. Bitcoin should start going parabolic in July of 2024. Now, your comment is, well, what do we do in the meantime? And we'll cover that in future videos. But for like the Bitcoin maximalist crowd, the big parabolic is going to have to wait. It's going to have to wait for, this dream come true, life-changing Bitcoin move. So we have the Bitcoin logarithmic growth chart. So it's like special bands plotted on a log chart of Bitcoin, right? And right now, Bitcoin is actually traded, as of the recording of this video, below the logarithmic band. It hasn't really done that since COVID or back in 2015. So an unusual time period when we're recording this video. But if you look up here in the top right, it's expected that, by the Gann cycle, right, if you just follow this little orange wavy line, Bitcoin will just sort of go sideways or have a little upward slope and then ramp at the end. And if you follow this log chart, you would get something like $700,000 Bitcoin, which is where crypto YouTube and crypto Twitter get these huge long-term upside targets. Now, is that realistic? I don't know. Is it based in math? Sort of. But here at Token Metrics, we like to give you a sort of grounded approach that mixes math and TA, because that's our style, right? We have AI and human analytics. So rather than just give you what's on YouTube already, we're going to do something different. In William Gann's analysis, he focuses on two things. One of them is price and how price matches up with time. So there's something out there called the natural squares calculator that takes advantage of something called the square of 9, complex mathematical tools. And then dates are sort of mixed with price using those methods so that we can look at when something might move and where it might move to. In other words, it's very subjective, it's very powerful, but it's going to give us an important clue as to how to use tokenmetrics.com to come up with a realistic Bitcoin price prediction. So using the Gann analysis, I came up with two famous dates in the modern Bitcoin bull market. I used December 15th of 2018. That was the bottom of that epic bear market where miners sold Bitcoin from 6,000 to 3,000 on an increase in the cost of production. So in 2018, that was where miners sold Bitcoin from 6,000 to 3,000 because the cost of production increased and some of the miners couldn't keep up because of hardware issues. So it was forced selling back in 2018. And then the second famous date that I remember is March 13th of 2020, where you had a massive panic in Bitcoin on the announcement of the COVID quarantine. Ironically, that was an epic low because massive Fed money printing ensued and a whole crypto upcycle started. Now, we also added a little bit of spice in that I just threw in sort of right around the winter solstice, or the change in season from fall to winter, right around December 24th of 2022. So what did I do with these dates, these famous dates? I inputted them into the Gann mechanism, right? Or like a cake, I took these things and I put them in a mix and I put them in the Gann oven, right? And then I came out with some numbers. So for our scenario analysis, we came up with 98,490. That was close to a number that's actually on our chart right now. That's on tokenmetrics.com. So I came up with a Gann number, and then I looked at, where are these numbers and how close are they to our Bitcoin price prediction on our site. Okay, the second number I came up with that, came from Gann and is close to our number is 196,000. So let's go back to look at the chart. This chart comes from tokenmetrics.com. On the top, we have the total market cap in trillions. So this market cap cycle, we got to about 3 trillion. Okay. And then there's scenarios here for 5 and 10 trillion. Then on this left axis, we have all the numbers that are possible for Bitcoin dominance. So how important is Bitcoin? The top is not that important at 18%. And at 75% Bitcoin dominance, it's the only thing out there. It's the Michael Saylor vision. Let's go back to our assumptions. Now we're going to use this chart combined with some of the Gann analysis we came up with to come up with 2 scenarios. So one thing we're going to assume is in the next market cycle, total crypto market cap is going to go to 5 trillion. So the high was 3 trillion, and next cycle it might go to 5 trillion. Is that conservative? Yes, right? We think so, right? Total crypto market cap should make a new high, but we don't want to assume that the last high was 3 trillion and the next high will be 10. I think we want to assume that it'll be 5 trillion. If 5 trillion is our target for total crypto market cap, what can we mix when we mix Gann and token metrics? Well, we get 2 things. Scenario 1 is that Bitcoin doesn't get to 100K. Ooh. Right. So next cycle, Bitcoin only gets to 98,490 because Bitcoin dominance is only at 37%. Now, what kind of world does that look like? Well, it's a world where the Bitcoin maximalists effectively get it wrong. There's a parabolic in Bitcoin in 2024 and 2025, but that parabolic only takes Bitcoin to 98,000 because some altcoins do better. It could be Ethereum. It could be a privacy coin, because remember, there's no privacy feature on Bitcoin as of now. Bitcoin is not that important. And you've heard people say Bitcoin won't be important in the future. Then the next parabolic only takes Bitcoin to 98K. Now, you're probably a Bitcoin maximalist if you're watching this and you're just enraged by the mere thought of what I just said. So let me make you feel a little bit better with this. So if total crypto market cap is 5 trillion, right? And Bitcoin dominance is at, 75%. So this is the Michael Saylor theory. Like Bitcoin is currency and everything else is a security. That's what he's saying. That brings Bitcoin to $196,000, right? Again, with 75% dominance. Now, the cool thing is that this chart, right, is on tokenmetrics.com. But again, there are a lot of numbers here. So what we did was we used the Gann analysis, which I told you a little bit about, to try to focus on 2 specific numbers, 98K and 196K. Now, realistically speaking, honestly, if Bitcoin in the next cycle can't get to 100K, I think crypto is not as important as it's going to be, right? It's tempting to be controversial and say, well, next cycle, Bitcoin is a doorstop and no one cares, and you're better off with ETH and Polkadot. That's easy to say, and that may be true, right? And I don't know if Bitcoin will be 75% dominance, but I think the bottom line is somewhere between 190 and 200K is where we can mathematically, logically say Bitcoin could go to in 2025, right? So that parabolic, right, could be from, I don't know, it could start at 14 or 20K and eventually ramp Bitcoin. But again, that will take time. So 200K or 196K for a target is exciting. 98K is a little boring in terms of just thinking about the numbers. But whether it's 98 or 196, I'm sure everybody will make plenty of money in crypto. The bottom line is, based on our chart, it's a logical assumption to assume crypto market cap will get to 5 trillion by 2025. Bitcoin will be an important component to that. And if it is, Bitcoin can get to 196,000. All right. So that's it for this video. Tune in for more price predictions from Token Metrics.